Shalom, call Limelight, Yahweh, Hashem, Yahushai, Hashem, Rakah Kodash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who rule and teach well. And a sincere shalom to the 144,001/3. Now, Spirit hopped on me. I was looking at the crime during Germany's hyperinflation. So you can see here crime rates, including robbery. So robbery would be you're walking down the street and somebody comes up to you forcing to take your belongings. And then burglary would be you having some type of building or an enclosed object like a car or storage unit or your home, and somebody breaks in and then robs you. And then prostitution, pretty self-explanatory. Violence and murder rose significantly during the period of German hyperinflation, peaking in 1923 due to widespread hunger, desperation, and social unrest. The economic collapse led to a general breakdown in law and order. Now let's get this right here with hunger, because the Most High Yahweh uses famine as judgment. Let's get that. This is 2 Ezra 15:19. A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor. Yeah, robbery, burglary, violence, murder. And even with prostitution, you think when everything's all run down and the cops ain't there, you think men are gonna, go for that box and actually give them resources in exchange? You think they're gonna do it? No, they're just gonna do it for free. Take either, essay them or just, lie on them. Say, oh yeah, I'm gonna give you this and that, and then don't do it, right? And then they'll probably have weapons on them, to, basically strong arm the women and men too, right? So that's what? No pity. Let's reread that. 2 Ezra 15:19. A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor. All right, so neighbors essentially referring to somebody around you. Of course, context matters. Some context in the scriptures, the neighbor is just an Israelite, all right, fellow Israelite. In this context, is just somebody around you in your vicinity, in your area. A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword, burglary, and spoil their goods. All right, taking their resources, whether it be water, food, their clothes, their tools, because of the lack of bread. There you go, widespread hunger, and for great tribulation, desperation, social unrest, pestilences. All right, that's a part of the great tribulation. The impact of crime. The extreme economic conditions created an environment of desperation that fueled various types of criminal activity. Property crimes, theft, and burglaries became rampant as people sought to secure basic necessities like food and fuel. There you go. When things start getting worse, these apartment buildings, these neighborhoods, people, you see right now, you feel the average person in Babylon the Great, I would say the overwhelming majority, even people in the hood, they feel relatively safe in their homes. That's why their homes, they don't have no walls. They don't have no walls on their neighborhoods for the most part. Anybody can pretty much enter their neighborhood, and even inside the neighborhood, you don't have a wall, like a very secure barrier around your perimeter. Pretty much anybody can walk up to your house, break a window, and come in there. And that's what's going to happen. The violent crimes. There were notable increases in violence and murder as social tensions escalated and order broke down. Let's get that. What was it? Unwalled villages that I was just referring to. Let's get that. I noticed in Ezekiel 38th chapter, verse 11. So this is going into Russia and its allies invading Babylon the Great. And thou shalt say, I will go up to the land of unwalled villages. There you go. So Babylon the Great, there's really no walls. Typical neighborhoods, cities, so on and so forth, states. They're not sectioned off. Like if you in Puerto Rico, a lot of buildings in Puerto Rico are walled off. They'll have a metal sheet, built a metal sheet in brick walls. In Ghana too, they'll have what is it called? Not barbed wire, razor wire. They'll have razor wire around their homes with 7 8 foot tall brick wall with razor wire around it, and that's typical. That's typical in a lot of these countries, but that's not typical here in Babylon the Great. All right, because of safety, crime here is relatively low. Why? Because it's an abundance of resources. Organized crime. Criminal gangs flourished during the Great Depression years that followed, involving themselves in narcotics, gambling, and robbery. So yeah, you're going to see these gangs that are already in effect now, like Hell's Angels. You got these the KKK. You got these white supremacist groups. You got all these street gangs. They're going to get busy, right? They are, a lot of them already preparing for this societal collapse to cause chaos, to survive on their own. A lot of them Edomites in the Ozarks and the Appalachian Mountains and whatnot. Food riots. Widespread food shortages led to riots and instances of people forcibly taking food from farms. Yeah, there you go. People are gonna what? Let's get this. This is 2 Ezra 16:31. Even so, in those days, there shall be 3 or 4 left by them that search their houses with the sword. All right. So guess what? They're going to search what? These houses. All right. And then once those are dried up after, people that are surviving this coming collapse, it's going to be a standard, a social standard that, okay, the suburbs are pretty much wiped clean, not much left there. Then they're going to what? Well, first is going to be the inner cities, because the majority, I think it was like 82, 80, something like mid 80s. Let's say 84%. 84% of people live in a city, which is a urban or suburban environment. And then about 16 whatever percent of people live in a rural environment, which is like the countryside. So when things pop off, is mostly going to be in the urban and suburban areas. So it's going to be urban's going to get hit, then it'll spread to the suburbs, and then ultimately it'll spread to the rural areas. Now, of course, the rural areas will get hit significantly less than the suburban, and the suburban will get hit significantly less than the urban. But nonetheless, everywhere people dwell is going to go through that tribulation. Let's get that. This is Ezekiel 7:15. The sword is without, and the pestilence and the famine within. He that is in the field, the rural areas, shall die with the sword. He that is in the city, the urban and suburban, famine and pestilence shall devour him. So a lot of people that are in these urban areas and suburban areas are going to starve to death, and they're going to die of diseases. And then a lot of people that are in these rural areas are going to get murdered. They're going to get killed. Or I should say killed and murdered, because there's a difference. Basically, murder is a unrighteous killing. And then killing somebody is still righteous, right? The act of killing, right? Because you can go to war to protect yourself or self-defense. That's not wicked to kill somebody that's coming after you with a knife or whatever. Okay? So that's what's coming. Let's get this political instability. The period also saw significant political violence, including assassinations, attempted coups, and clashes between militant political parties which contributed to an overall atmosphere of lawlessness and insecurity. And you're gonna see that here in Babylon the Great. You're gonna see these states rejecting certain things. You're gonna see these militias, these politics, more assassinate. You're gonna see a lot. You're gonna see a lot. This place is about to go. It's gonna be chaos, and the majority, pretty much everybody in Babylon the Great is gonna die, one way or another, all right, because of the nukes. And guess what? During this great, you could die from a disease, and then also die from the nuke, because the Most High is going to raise up the people who's allotted for that fire from the grave, just so they can kiss a nuke, all right, or get kissed by a nuke. Okay, so Adawan Ratazada is edifying. Shalom.